Hey guys, welcome back to the daily crypto market update. Bitcoin had a huge pump yesterday, up 6.33% on the close, but wick to wick, way bigger. Wick to wick, nearly a 10% move. Now, the other thing that is shocking, is a TBO close short. That little orange diamond right there may not seem like a big deal. Just like all of you crypto cheapos that bought your fiance a tiny little orange diamond instead of a real diamond, is that the last time we got one of these was back over here on the 12th of April, 2025, after all this violent tariff crap. And then the price of Bitcoin sprang up a lot higher, from 83,000 all the way up to 126,000. Now that's amazing. Do I think the same thing is going to happen this time? Nope. If we go back over here, we could also see a period of chop in 2024. From March 2024 until November 2024, we saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these TBO closed shorts. They're all letting us know that the bearish downtrend should be reversing soon. But the problem is that 2025 was a top year, where we saw this first one in April. 2024 was a rally year. Over here, 2023 was a recovery year where we saw another TBO close short on the 19th of September, which did incite a really big rally. But right now, we're in a bottom year. So if we go over here to 2022, which is the last bottom year, we see back over in February, 2 TBO close shorts, one printed on an 11% move, sound familiar, and another one 2 days later on the 6th. That was amazing. Seeing this big of a move back over here was insane. Did it change the direction of the macro trend, even when the price came up to touch or tag at the top of the cloud? No. Then Bitcoin fell a lot lower. After it finally bottomed out, we saw a TBO close short on the 19th of July, 2022, after BTC had already put in another semi-quasi bear flag. Which essentially it was. Actually, it did fall a lot lower, to be honest. So the main thing right now is that the macro trend still wins. Even back over here, when the price of Bitcoin was at $17,000 and it moved up all the way to $25,000, a 40% move that lasted a decent amount of time. That move lasted approximately 57 days after Bitcoin capitulated. That's the key there. But it still went lower. Now, we do have a very bullish reversal sign. I'm not going to lie. TBO close short. I am shocked that Bitcoin actually printed that. Now, let's look at the rest of the TBO. Has the TBO slow line changed yet? No, it hasn't. It's still very macro bearish. On the daily time frame, what's our next level of resistance? It's here at $74,650, give or take, $620. And if we look at our artificial supports, that's basically lining up to the previous pivot low set back over here on the 7th of April, 2025. Now, here's the truth. If Bitcoin can miraculously push above this previous historical resistance level, I might be changing my tune. Maybe. I don't expect that to happen, just so you know. But if it does, that's something I definitely have to reconcile and figure out. Now, in terms of our resistance fan, the other thing that's really interesting as well is that, again, from our 126K top, October 6th, 2025, to this next pivot high on the 14th of January, we have our main resistance level, which if that happened to get hit today, which is unrealistic, wholly unrealistic, that would be 86K. What's more striking is that this next resistance fan level was basically almost tested yesterday at $74,751. That's the level, but the actual, sorry, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do this. It really just peaked up here to a high of $74,000. $74,050. It's a big deal. It's a really, really, really big deal. It's a big move to make. Now, if it can push above this level and also push above historical resistance, I'll be gobsmacked, honestly. When we look at Actually, I don't want to do that yet. Here's the thing though. If we look at our first resistance fan, we already saw something similar to this, just so you know. Back over here, we saw our October 6th, 2025 high to our next pivot high on the 28th of October. And it gave us, again, from the 28th of October to the 11th of November, we have lower highs. So we could see a moment where we saw Bitcoin do the same thing. If we think about our artificial supports, our historical ones, we actually had one right about here, right at $98,944 from the low that we saw on the 4th of November, okay? The price of Bitcoin pushed above the first resistance fan line, so it took that out. We had a second one. It pushed above that one as well on the 3rd of January. And Bitcoin even moved all the way up here to $97,924. Not quite to that pivot high, that artificial support level, and it retraced. The other thing that's important to note about these two moments is that RSI was very overbought. First on the 5th of January at 82.59, and then on the 14th of January, 82.07. Now, going to where we are today, RSI closed at 69.75. It's pretty amazing seeing these higher highs and higher lows for Bitcoin. It is honestly shocking, for lack of a better word. On-balance volume is technically bullish because the blue jagged line is above the white line, just like it was back over here on the 9th and 11th of December before it fell lower, just like it was back over here on the 5th of January and the 14th of January before it rolled over, just like it was over here on the 28th of January when it had this, again, pivot high, and then it rolled over. So this move is surprising. And to be honest, daily volume, this is the highest we've seen daily volume since the 6th of February, after the big recovery, after bottoming down at 60K. Volume yesterday was at 3.2 million. 3.2 billion. Missed 3 zeros at the end. Whereas the 30-day moving average is at 2 billion. So it is exceeding the moving average volume. That's good. Now, when we look at our current bear flag, a couple of things to keep in mind. This is where you guys aren't going to like everything I have to say. Let's just say that it's just support. Okay, so we've seen higher lows for support. And this whole time, while we've been watching BTC trying to make some sort of a bear flag, we haven't seen any higher highs. And in fact, it pushed out above of this pennant, I guess you could say. But I still think that this is a bear flag. To be honest, because it's a bear flag, we have our lows. Finally have a higher low right there. Actually, let me move this. And now we have a higher high, which means that we should put in a higher low over here around 65K, maybe even a higher high up to 76K, maybe. But the bear flag lives. As crazy as that sounds to some of you, it still lives. It's still valid to me. On the weekly time frame, a couple of other important things to note. The price of Bitcoin is now back inside of the cloud on the weekly time frame, and support. If you notice, TBO support, which is down here at $16,548, just shot up to $65,259. That's impressive as well. Again, that only happens when there is a massive pivot low. Same thing happened back over here on the 1st of August. It was at $4,400. Then it shot all the way up to $22,000. Then it lost it, and it went lower and lower and lower, finally down to 16K. But it's still impressive, showing us that this is a decent pivot low, if it holds, because we still have 4 days left until the candle closes. RSI is now putting in a very juicy RSI reset, which is when RSI is previously oversold below 25 and it crosses back up. Now, does this change the bearish trajectory of weekly RSI? No, to be honest, it doesn't. I kind of goofed up that line, but it's still the same thing. You can just do it like that. No, overhead resistance is still very much intact. Does it change on-balance volume? No. Does it change weekly volume? This should be the biggest tell right now. If you guys want to believe that we saw capitulation last week or like a couple weeks ago, it was our first bounce. And then we're seeing green, but weekly volume so far is only at 7.5, we'll round it up, billion. And the 30-day moving average of volume is at 13 billion. So we're still very, very, very low in terms of volume. Not trying to knock the move. The move is amazing. I'm honestly shocked and impressed. I still think that it's a valid bear flag, and I still think that Bitcoin's going to be rolling over. One thing to also consider is that anytime the price moves up or down too fast, like this, up 6% in a day, there's usually going to be some sort of a corrective move. And because we have a closed short, that orange diamond, we're actually expecting the price of Bitcoin to fall down and tag the fast line, which is currently at $69,226, FYI. Ethereum also closed up, but didn't print a closed short. On the 4-hour time frame, it actually printed some TBO breakouts on the move. Same thing with Bitcoin, actually, on the 4-hour time frame. Now, Ethereum is actually putting in a decent bear flag. I'm not going to lie. Mainly because we are looking at the price putting in higher lows and higher highs. We have our low from the 6th of February. We have a pivot high here on the 8th of February. We have a higher low on the 24th of February. And we have now a higher high yesterday, the 4th of March, which means that we're going to see a higher low if it's going to be a valid bear flag. So, Aaron, what if this isn't a real bear flag? What would change your mind? Well, the price of Ethereum would have to push above this level of resistance, which is admittedly pretty weak because it's only off of a parallel channel, only off of this level. And to be honest, if we looked at this without the parallel channel and just called this resistance, oops, sorry, go like that. Oh, that was weird. Here we go. We saw it tested on the 25th and pierced yesterday. So in terms of 2152 being resistance, it's pretty interesting. It is really interesting. In terms of our artificial support levels, it's pushed above that 2111 level, which is a significant level that has been danced around a whole lot, going all the way back to 2023, if I'm not mistaken. So what would change my mind right now for Ethereum? Well, closing above this bear flag, closing up above 22 something or other. That would be it. Now, volume just barely outperformed the moving average yesterday. On balance volume is still bearish. RSI is not yet overbought. On the 4-hour, we have that breakout. On the weekly, it is printing an RSI reset, but everything else still looks very bearish, just so you know. Stablecoin dominance. So now we're seeing that fruition of what I said, where we saw some bearish reversal signals, TBT bearish divergences in 2 clusters. We saw lots of wicks here. Well, they're not wicks, but wicks at the price, because this is a percentage, into the cloud, which is telling us that there's weakness and a good likelihood that the price is going to fall inside the cloud in bearish consolidation mode. And we're now seeing RSI putting in lower highs and lower lows. So does this mean that I am wrong and that Bitcoin has already bottomed out? I don't really think so, because the same thing happened back over here. After seeing lots of TBT bearish divergences, the price wicked and pierced the cloud so much, and finally it closed inside of the cloud back on the 2nd of January. And then it stayed in the cloud for about 18 days and then shot way up after that. On the weekly time frame, RSI, this is what we're watching right here, it's back down to the short-term support level. Now, it's not the exact Pico low level, something like this. It's getting there, though. It's pretty amazing, okay? We saw something kind of sort of similar back in 2022, but it fell a lot lower. From a high at 94, my bad, to a low at 40.96. I know, the markets are so exciting right now. I'm yawning my face off. And we're also looking at TBT bearish divergence on this week's candle. That's pretty wild, because the last time this happened was back over here on the 4th of July, 2022. and again over here on the 2nd of January 2023, marking two pretty good reversals. Not gonna lie, that's pretty amazing. I'm still looking at everything going, well, could it be the bottom? Could Bitcoin have already bottomed? Again, I struggle with the whole concept of this being a real bottom because it's only fallen from 126K down here to 60K, like 52%. It's not low enough to be a real bear market bottom. That's the biggest thing that I'm struggling with right now. Now, in terms of dominance, Bitcoin dominance is a pumping, which shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. It pumped up yesterday 1.02%, which is crazy. Others' dominance fell even lower and printed a TBO close long, a bearish reversal signal. Total ES pushing higher inside of the cloud on the weekly time frame, also has an RSI reset. Yes, it's green, but everything else is still very bearish. Total 3 ES BTC is dumping, telling us that Bitcoin is stronger than everything else. Note the TBO breakdowns on the 4-hour time frame for this chart and also for others BTC. And others BTC also, like others dominance, printed a TBO close long. Yes, Bitcoin is a pumpin'. Does it have legs? We'll find out pretty fast. But honestly, I think this is just part of the bear flag. All right, let's move on to TradFi. The Dixie did have a pullback yesterday, which might have helped Bitcoin push up higher, which obviously helped the S&P to close up higher. It closed up green 0.75% yesterday, and it's currently green again. The euro bounced back. The yen is retreating and falling lower. The FANG index is testing its first resistance fan line at around, actually it's currently above it at 14,874. The VIX took a big drop down yesterday after opening at 24.39 and closing at 21.14. So it's back below our rejection range. Similar move to what we saw back on the 20th of November and also the 17th of October. And if we go back to April over here, this is our tariff fears. It pushed up a lot higher. So it's still overbought. It's still looking iffy. It's not looking super duper strong yet, personally. NVIDIA is working, actually it confirmed, I always forget that these charts are closed. It confirmed a TBO open short on the daily time frame. Now, the last time this happened, the price snapped right back up higher. The main thing to watch is that weekly RSI is below our support level. It's inside of the cloud still on the weekly. It's strong bearish below the cloud on the daily. It's not looking strong. Tesla managed to push back above overhead resistance yesterday. It's still dancing and trying to fight above this level. It needs 3 days above this level to be confirmed closed. UK oil, though, is not cooling off or calming down. It's going up higher. It's currently up 0.85%. Gold is starting to bounce back again after getting rejected big time on Tuesday. Silver as well, starting to go back up to the top of the cloud. Now, I'm trying my best to keep up with the news as much as I possibly can. I'm not able to keep up with everything, but I'm fairly certain that this whole conflict in the Middle East is not going to be resolved in a day or in a week. Usually these things take time. So yes, I think it makes more sense for Bitcoin to remain in that bear flag configuration than for it to just keep pumping up higher. I could be wrong, which it would be very strange if it actually bottomed out already. So I'm just going to keep watching and waiting. But for now, I'm sticking to my plan because that's exactly what we teach in the Better Traders Journal, which you can order a copy for yourself on Amazon. I will follow my trading plan from start to finish. It's one of the 5 rules in the Better Traders Journal. Also, you want to check out the TBO indicator, which I'm showing you with all of these charts, whether it's stocks or it's crypto. It's the best trading view indicator that you could possibly use to identify the strength of the trend, breakouts, breakdowns, close shorts, close longs, all these reversal signals, support, resistance. It's good stuff. And also check out 2Bit if you're looking for an exchange partner. 2Bit has this crazy deal where if you use the link down below, you can sign up and trade to earn over 15,000 USDT in rewards, which is nuts. All right, we're going to get into it. We're going to look at my picks first. If you have picks that you want me to check out, I didn't even rename this. Then go ahead and leave a comment down below. And make sure, if you do leave a comment, like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and consider retweeting, resharing, reposting, all that fun stuff to help me reach my target of 100,000 subs this year. Let's do it. Now, there are a lot of charts that are starting to make some bullish moves. A lot of these ones that are light blue have TBO breakouts printing on the 4-hour time frame, which is very weak, 6 times weaker than the daily. But it is interesting to note for BNB, for Solana, and by the way, Solana is making a beautiful bear flag, putting in higher lows and higher highs now. XMR Monero, TBO breakouts. Mantle, TBO breakouts on the 4-hour. Near, TBO breakouts, although it's starting to retrace. Cake, TBO breakouts, perfect 3 in a row cluster. XPL Plasma has 2. Sky has 3, and it's kind of messed up. And yesterday it pushed up another 6% higher. And RSI, by the way, yesterday moved up to 77.19, which clearly exceeded 74.33. And now it's looking at 79.56, the real big daddy level from December 22nd. It has legs. It's running. It's amazing. Many charts have also printed TBO close shorts, like Tron on the daily, like Uniswap on the daily, like Virtual still has these 3. We're still waiting for the price to pull back to the fast line to get an entry. SPX 6900 printed a 9% move and a close short. ETH5 printed a TBO close short as well. Now, in terms of other bullish signals, Syrup printed a 7% close with a TBT bullish divergence cluster. It's pretty insane what's happening. Now, again, you'd think that everything is great. No, everything is not great. There's still charts that are flashing some bearish warning signs. I keep going back to hype because I'm not satisfied with this chart. I still think it's going to be rolling over. Note, RSI moved just above overbought levels on Monday, and now it's starting to retrace. Even though on-balance volume is higher, RSI is showing us that there's weakness. Volume is falling down again. Price is stalling at the top of the cloud. Morpho fell down 4% yesterday. Just noting that RSI put in a lower high on Tuesday. And then Wednesday, of course, it closed down a lot lower. I don't think that Morpho will push up too much higher. We'll see. River, this one gave us a lot of volatility yesterday, but note that it closed red and put in a lower high on RSI. Stable, this one continues to drop. Yesterday down 4%, today down 4%. And we had these 2 warning signs. The TBO closed longs on the 4-hour time frame. Ether has a TBT bearish divergence, but the price whipsawed back up another 8%. It's still a good, valid warning sign. And also note that volume has fallen off a lot and has not exceeded the moving average since Tuesday, and it just barely did that. And now for some other bearish updates, these blue flagged charts all have TBO closed longs. DOT has 2 TBO closed longs on the 4-hour. Tau has 5 of these, even though it shot up even higher. Pippin, this one still has a valid TBO close long from Tuesday's dump of 30%. Remember that the expected behavior after a close long is to see the price come up and tag the fast line, which would be a 40% bounce, which would be wild. Now, just some updates. Ton is doing a little bit of deja vu. It's right back up to the fast line, and it exceeded it back over here on the 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th of February before rolling over. It exceeded it back over here in late December into basically January 6th, and it rolled over. Just keep in mind, the macro trend for a lot of these charts is very bearish still. Dash, this one is now above overhead resistance, 3 days, so this level is finished. But it's failing to close inside of the cloud. It really needs to push above this 236 fib level at 38.71. And Chili's pushed above its fast line yesterday by about 1.5%, and it's continuing to push up higher. On the 4-hour, there are no other bearish reversal signs. It's interesting, but I don't necessarily think it has legs to keep running higher. All right, let's look at some of these picks. SKR on on Bybit. This is a really great chart, honestly, for trading. Just nice and whippy. It's not dumping and plummeting and plunging a lot lower. Really good range for trading as well. Like, these are good moves, honestly. So nice find. Jupiter, this one continues to push up higher. Yesterday up 5%, still is a valid TBO close short. So we're still waiting on the price to come back down and tag the fast line, which is currently at 16 cents. AXL, this one has a TBT bullish divergence cluster. Why is it orange? I don't know why it's orange. That's the first cluster that we've seen ever. I have to go back. It's the first one ever. Well, it is quite a bullish reversal signal. Just keep in mind that as long as the slow line is pointing down, the chances of this being a really bullish reversal sign are very low. With that said, we've also seen it pump up 50% several times as it goes lower. Even more recently here on the 25th of February, it had a single day pump up 39% and then fell back down. Doge, also TBT bullish divergence cluster after pumping 10% open to close and moving up to a high of 10 cents. Not bad. But again, macro trend is bearish. I can't help but see it. Power protocol. This one had all these TBT bearish divergences up here as the chart was kind of fizzling out, then absolutely plummeted on Tuesday, dropping 90% in a single day. Oof. That's a great reason after a chart moves up 864%. This is why we take profits on the way up and why we don't chase. XPIN printed a second, actually it's the third, look at that, 1, 2, 3. It's the third TBO breakdown, really late after the move, to be honest. And the price is kind of putting in a double bottom. I mean, it obviously exceeded it. XPIN could push up a little bit higher, but the target will always be the fast line, just like it's been ever since the 16th of January. Every single reversal goes up to the fast line and gets rejected, gets rejected, gets rejected, gets rejected. So that fast line target is at 0.0015895. COI is still chop solidating, no real big moves, no real big changes or shifts in this chart. Volume is flatlining. It's not really doing much of anything at all. Now on to some stocks because Bitcoin has done well. Yesterday, of course, the MicroStrategy stock is up and also printed a TBO close short. Circle, this one continues to push up higher. It still has a looming gap below the price, which is a little bit concerning now that it's just failing to acknowledge it whatsoever and pushing up higher, even though it clearly has a gap that needs to be filled down here at $62.95, which from $105, that's now a 40% drop. Obviously not now, but in the future, it'll get filled. GDX, VanEck Gold Miners, this one printed a TBT bearish divergence on Tuesday's candle, and it fell down and closed back inside of the cloud. Not a really bad looking chart, to be honest. It's still strong bullish. Yes, it's its third TBT bearish divergence cluster on the weekly, which is a pretty damning signal. Yes, weekly RSI is putting in lower highs. That's not good. Volume is still strong bullish. The TBO is admittedly strong bullish. Volume is just in general strong bullish. You might want to consider taking some profits out of this guy because it could turn. That's all I'm seeing. SoFi is the slow line is flat, if not curving down. Yes, it had a pretty good week on Monday up into Wednesday's high of 14%, but it's still strong bearish. On the weekly time frame, we could be seeing a pivot low similar to what Bitcoin's doing. Its previous low here at 514 and then shooting all the way up to 1680 is a big pivot low sign. Note the price fell on the weekly down here to historical TBO support, and it's bouncing off of that level right now. That's pretty amazing. IWM, iShares Russell 2000 ETF. It's the second TBO close long since February. The second one printed yesterday. Honestly, it's 3 because we have one back over here on the 31st of December. It's not great, but it's not bad. I don't know. I don't really see anything. It just feels like the S&P, where the S&P is literally living on a prayer Bon Jovi style. We're seeing RSI showing us some clear signs here that it's putting in lower highs. It's technically breaking below this support level. On balance volume is technically bearish and starting to roll over as well. Yeah. And EVA Technologies on the daily time frame, great chart for just trading. Like I love channel trading charts like this. Really, really, really nice range. Really good moves. 70% is nuts for a stock. And it's up 7% on the day. Cool. So if it has legs, then we're going to be looking at this is a good level of resistance and this historical level of resistance. So it's 1720 and then 2089. Cool. So again, Bitcoin's doing some crazy stuff. I wasn't really expecting it to make this big jump, and seeing a close short like this is a big deal. Does it have legs? We're going to have to see how it reacts to that previous pivot low around 74K, which isn't that far away. But again, we're also, if we're subscribing to the bear flag, we saw a lower low. We saw our low and our high and a higher low, and now we're finally getting our higher high. Just keep in mind that anything that moves up too high too fast, usually it's going to have some sort of a pullback. That's what we've been seeing all week. So exciting times. Never a dull day. Before you go, watch this video. It's going to help fill you in on basically everything that's going on right now. And until the next time, you know what to do. Stay awesome and stay in the great. Peace.